Welcome back everyone to the inventory management system. In previous video we showed you the demo of this project, what we are going to build in this project, the modules and the process of all the project. I showed you everything in the previous video. In this project we will start implementing the project. The first thing that we are going to do in this first part, the second part, which is login functionality. Okay, first of all we will create an admin account. After that we will implement the login functionality. So let's start. Okay, before doing this we will just create our React and Node.js projects. So this is an empty folder I have opened in VS Code editor. Now in this folder I will create two projects, one for the front end and the second one is for server side project. So let's start. Okay, let's open the terminal. So after opening the terminal, now here I will just write npm create wait. Okay, so wait is used, okay, to create, we will use wait.js to create our React project. Press enter. So let's open bash, just come here, git bash, npm create wait. So it says a project name, so I don't yeah, just let's assign a project name front end. Press enter. So we will use React.js and JavaScript. So after that let's cd change directory to front end folder. After that write npm install, npm install. So it will install all the dependencies in project, the packages. The installation completed. Now let's install the packages that we are going to use in this front-end project, in React project. These are npm install Axios, React Router and React Icons. We will just install these three libraries. Let's copy this line and paste it here. Press enter. Axios is used for HTTP request and response, React Router for routing, and React Icons, the icons library. So after completing, it means that we have completed our front-end project. There is nothing else. Yeah, let's install also Tailwind CSS. For design we will use Tailwind CSS. So to use Tailwind CSS, let's just search here Tailwind CSS with wait. So just come here and open this documentation. It says first of all run this. Okay, npm install Tailwind CSS, and after running this, just come here. Yeah, paste that. It will install the Tailwind CSS. So let's wait for the install. After the installation, so it says open the wit.config.js file. Just come here and come here to the front end, open wit.config.js file. So after opening that, just edit it like this. Okay, add, first of all import this one, this line. Just come here and paste it here, and after that just add this section. Okay, let's copy these plugins, copy that, paste that here. I think we should use, just come here inside this, let's paste this Tailwind CSS. That's it. Come here down and import this Tailwind CSS in a CSS file. Just come here to the src directory, come here to the app.css and remove all the CSS code, paste that here. That's it. Okay, just let's come here. I will delete this index.css file, we don't need this one. Come here and also remove this one, and after that come here and remove all this code. Simply here I will just write div React app. So here I will apply this Tailwind CSS classes, that is text for 3XL and font bold underline like this. So now let's run our React app. So to run it, we will write just use this command npm run div. Okay, npm run div to run our project. Let's open this URL. So let's wait for that. Look at React app, text 3xl, underline and font bold. We can change the color also. Text like read 500. Look at the color has been changed also. This was our React project. So after React project, now let's create our server-side project. Close this, and I will create a folder inside this, okay, parent folder. So I will name it server, or we can name it backend. Okay, server. Inside this server, what we are going to do, let's first of all open a new terminal, git bash. Inside that cd server, we will move to the server directory, and there we will just write npm init or initialize. So package name, so what it is, this utility will walk you through creating a package.json file. It will recover the most common items. For this, the package.json file has been created here. So you can just define all these things. I skipped everything. Let's close this one. And after that, let's just install. Just come here, back to notepad file, and here we will install these packages or libraries. Express, which is the framework of Node.js, Bcrypt for password hashing, cars for cross-origin resource sharing. Express written 2 times. Mongoose, ORM, NodeMon to refresh our code by default automatically. JSON Web Token for just authentication for the authorization. Okay, this is just to create a token, to generate a token. Copy this line and just paste it here and install all these libraries or packages. So the installation completed. Now let's create a file inside this server folder, and we will name it like index.js. So inside this is the starting file of our server-side project. So now let's start. Okay, first of all, what we are going to do, just come here. Yeah, let's come here to the package.json file. Here I will add start, and start we will use this, okay, in nodemon env file name.js. I will just explain it to you, don't worry. Just come here, and this file name is index.js. I wrote this. The reason of this is nodemon will use to automatically refresh our app whenever we make some changes in our server side app, and this dash dash, okay, env file equal to .env, this is used to access the .env file in our server side project. Okay, in that .env we will just declare our environment variables. In this later we will just declare and create this file, and we will just use some variables like port number, connection URL, some like a token key. So we will just write a variable, environment variable inside this file, .env file. Index.js is the file where we are going to start our project, our application. One thing else that we are going to add here, that is a type module. Yeah, the type is module. Why I wrote this, the reason of writing this is we can now import a file or library. Instead of using require, we can use the import statement like this. Okay, I will show you. Just come here. If we don't write type module, so then we are going to write like this. Okay, const express is equal to require express, like this. But now by writing that statement, we can simply write import express from express, like this. that was everything that we did. Just come here, what we are going to do, yes, default code for our server side project. So here we will just write now our default code in this index.js file to run our Node.js app. Just compare, import cars from cars. We will import cars also. Down from this we will create app equal to express. We will call express function, and we will use app.use cars. Okay, inside this we will use cars, app.use express.json. So this express.json, it means that whenever we pass some data from front end side, so it will convert that to the JSON format. Now let's run our project. Okay, so app.listen to the port number, and also we can write like this. Okay, app.listen 3000, so it will listen to the port number 3000. Let's, where is the error? Just come here, let's close that. This is port number 3000, and console.log server is running on 3000 port. Okay, so let's now run our project. So to run our Node.js project, we will simply write npm start in terminal. So it will start. We faced, I think, with error, a node-man. Yeah, there is no .env file, so let's clear that .env. So inside this, let's declare port equal to like 3000. This is the port number that we will use. Just come here, and we can just simply access our port number like this in our files process.env.port. Close that. Now let's run that. npm start. So look at server is running and http localhost 3000. So our Node.js app is running successfully. So after running our Node.js, now let's create connection with database. So to create a connection with database, for that we will use MongoDB, as we are using MERN Stack, MongoDB, React.js, Express, and Node.js. So we are using MongoDB database. So for MongoDB database, we have two options. One is locally to use MongoDB GUI model like MongoDB Compass. The second option is to use MongoDB Atlas online tool. So if you don't know how to configure these two databases, I have already created videos about this, so you can watch on my channel. So I will use MongoDB Compass. So let's open that GUI tool, MongoDB Compass. Let's wait for that. That's, yeah, this is MongoDB Compass. Let's create connection with this, connect to create connection. Okay, these are databases which I have created already. So to create connection, let's come here. We will create a new folder. Here we will name it db. Inside this we will just create a file. We will name it connection. So inside this, let's import first of all Mongoose. Import Mongoose. Okay, Mongoose is ODM. Okay, this library is used to create connection between MongoDB and Node.js. Now let's create let's create a connection. Yeah, I have just configured a copilot which is used to just automatically generate code for me. So const connect db. So I will just write now the try catch block. So inside this, let's write await mongoose dot connect. So here I will just write the URL. Okay, the URL, so where I can find the URL. So let's come here to the MongoDB GUI tool. So here I can copy the connection string. Come here and copy connection string. So after copying that, now let's create this MongoDB URL variable inside .env file. So come here to .env, and we will name it equal to, and inside this let's copy again, copy connection string, paste that here. Sometimes this localhost generate an error, so let's, instead of this, write the IP address 0.0.1, and at the end we can just specify the database also. If the database was not found inside this MongoDB database, so it will generate that automatically. For example, right now we don't have a database. Let's, for example, name it like POS project or POSDB simply. Okay, POSDB. So it will automatically create this database for us. Right now we don't have this database. Okay, POSDB. Just save this and just come here. Yeah, that is okay. MongoDB database. Simply we can just like write this, and here we will just write console.log connection created successful. If there was an error, so we will just catch that error. Simply we will just console.log connection failed like this. That's okay. Okay, if there was any error, so we will just print console.error. We will print the error connection failed error.message. We will print that message also. So this was all about the connection export default connectdb. We will export this function. Now let's import this. Okay, so let's import this inside index.js, and let's import that. Simply come here, import connectdb from db connection. So db connection.js, specify the js extension also. Down inside this I will just call connectdb function. Now let's run it and check that also again. Let's come here to the terminal. Look at connection created successfully. It means that the connection with database has been created successfully. Let's refresh this. If we just come here, refresh database, PO. Yeah, right now we don't have the POSDB. Later whenever we create models, so then we will check that. So the connection has been created successfully after creating connection user model. So now let's create a user model. So come here, we will create a new folder. We will name it models. Inside this models, now I will create first of all the user.js model. Okay, this model is for user. It means that the schema for user, the properties which are used for like this is just we are going to create a table inside the database. So in the MongoDB, to a table is called connection. So let's now define this model. First of all, let's import Mongos. So after that, now let's create schema for user. So simply it is generating for me new mongos.schema. Inside this schema, what we are going to define, first of all, name. So for name, the name type is string. Type, let's define it inside type string. And after name, we will define now email type string required to unique true. And after email, password type string, it will automatically generate for me. Let's just remove required to. And after that, we don't need phone number. Let's add address. And the last one is role. So the role is a type string. Just come here. That is okay. Type is string. So here I will define enumeration. The type should be like this is an array with us. Just come here. The type should be admin or for example customer. I will just define admin comma customer. Simple. Let's change this to customer. That's it. This is just comma. This was all about our schema, user schema. Now let's export it. First of all, we will create a model, then we will export that model. Const user equal to with mongos dot model. That is a model, and we will first of all define a name which is user, and after that user schema. User schema. That's it. Now let's export it. User. So this is all about the user schema that we have created, and this was the user model. So it will create the database. It means the table inside the database by the name of users, and we have exported that. So after creating this model, what else we are going to do? User seeder file. It means one thing that I should explain to you, that is for admin. Okay, in this project we don't have a registration form, so for admin I will create a seeder file. I will generate automatically an admin account. After that, the admin can create the customer's account. Okay, whenever the customer come to us, so we will create account for the customers and provide them the password and the email. So after that, they can change the email, the password, and they can edit that the customer. Okay, so let's create a seeder file, and that seeder file will automatically generate it means create an admin account. So let's name it seed yeah, user seed or just seed.js. Inside this seeder file, now we will create a user admin account. So simple. Let's first of all import bcrypt from bcrypt. The bcrypt is used for password hashing. We will just hash the password for admin. Import user from /models user.js, and also import connect db.connection. Okay, we will just call the connection function here also. Down from that, let's create a function register equal to this is asynchronous function with us async. Inside this function, let's use try catch block. Inside this, let's first of all call the connect to db function. It means first of all we will just create connection with database. After creating that, now let's hash a password. Const hash password equal to await. We can use bcrypt.hash. So the password for this account is admin. Later we can change that. And after that, now let's create a new model. Okay, const new user equal to with a new user. We will call this user. Okay, we'll create a new object of this user model. Let's define first of all name, which is admin, and after that email we can just name it like admin@gmail.com. and after that the password, which is hashed password, address admin address, that's it. And after that role, the role is the role, let's define that as admin. So the role is admin. So we have created this model. So after creating that model, now let's save that. So to save that, for that simple use new user.save, we will call it save function. So after that we will call this console.log admin user created successfully. That's the last message that we will display. Finally, we will just, if there was any error, so we will display that in catch function. That's it. So now let's call register function here. So we will call the register function whenever we run this file. It means wherever we import this file, so it will automatically call this register function. Now let's create this admin account. So to create that, for that simply come here and let's create a new terminal. cd server and note I think, yeah, we will just use --env file equal to .env, because we have used the URI from from this .env file. We use this MongoDB URI, which is called inside this connection file. Okay, if we don't write this env file equal to .env, so we cannot access this process.env.mongodb URI. So that's why I wrote like this. Now I will call seed file seed.js. So Node.env, yeah, Let's press enter. So it will create admin account for us. I think we faced with an error. So the error is that invalid schema configuration. Wall is not seed.js. That's okay. Where is the error? Come here to the schema user. Yeah, unique true. Password required. Let's run that once again. Again, we faced with an error. Where is the error? So where is path unique? Yeah, the error is that instead of capital T, we should write lowercase t. Okay, so it will solve the error. That is okay. Now let's run that. Yeah, connection created successfully, admin user created successfully. Now let's check our database. Let's refresh it now. Refresh database. So after that, let's close this one. POSDB. Okay, look at, we have POSDB. Let's open it. So inside this we have users collection. Inside this we have our first record admin@gmail.com and the hashed password and admin address role admin. So this was our admin account. So after creating successfully the admin account, what we are going to do, just come here back and here user seeder file login API. So now let's create API for our login. Okay, to log in admin to the system. Okay, so to create API for that, we have DB, we have models. We will create two more folders, one for routes, the second one is for controllers. So let's create them. First one is controllers. Inside this the first one, which is auth controller, or we can name it user controller.js. Here we will just define all the functions. Okay, and let's now create the second one, routes. The first route, which is auth.js. And we can name this user controller to auth controller. I think that will be great. Auth controller. So login API, that is great. So let's create the login API. So to create that, let's first of all import the packages. The first package, which is a bcrypt from bcrypt, and JWT from JSON Web Token, and also the user model. That's it. Everything has been imported. So after that, now let's use the const login API. Inside this login API, let's use try catch block. Inside this block, first of all, we will just get our email and password, which we have passed from our front end. So to extract them, for that we will use extract them like this: email and password equal to request.body. Okay, we will just extract them from request.body. After extracting them, now let's find the user. So to find user, simple, we will write const user equal to user await user.find one based on email. Okay, we will use email to find user. If not user, if the user was not existed in the database, so we will return an error. Respond the status for o1.json message invalid email or password found. Or we can just come here, return this object like this: success false, and message invalid email or password. Simply the user not found. Simple instead of this user not found this error. But if the user has been found, so then what we are going to do, we will compare the password. Simple like this. Okay, as match equal to bcrypt dot compare password. Okay, this password compare with the user dot password with this password. So after comparing that, if the password was not matched, the password were not equal, so what we are going to do, we will return again an error, success false, message invalid credentials. That is okay. So if the passwords were also okay, the user was also existed, so then we will generate a token. So to generate the token, for that, const token equal to gwt. Okay, this library JSON Web Token dot sign function. Okay, and this is a payload. In this payload we will store, right now we have stored id, the user id in this payload, process.env secret. This is a key. Okay, process.env. Yeah, instead of it, now let's first of all declare this inside that env file equal to, this is a secret key. At least it should have 32 characters in real life application, and it should a number special characters and whatever is there, so in keyboard, so you can collect them. Okay, you can just join them with each other like that, like this. Okay, gwt secret key 12345 hash 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 555 at like this, some type of like this. Okay, a secret key. So after declaring this, now let's use it. Just come here, process.env gwt secret key expires in 1 hour. So this is our token that we have generated. Now we will just return this to the front end, and we will store it inside the local storage. So inside this payload we can also store the roll up user. We will store the roll up user also. So it is almost for this, and we can just extend this expires in, for example, today, or we can just, yeah, today expires in today. Now let's return. Okay, return response dot status 200 dot json success true. And also we will just compare token. We will return token and also user. In user id, user.id, name and email, and also we don't need the address. Yeah, we don't need the address of user. Instead of this role, email, and user dot name, user dot id. So we have returned this thing back to the front end. We will return this response to the front end. Catch if there was any error, so just return a 500 JSON success false message internal server error. So it was all about our login API code that we have generated. Now let's compare export login. So we will export this login. Now let's import it inside wherever we want to use it. Let's compare to the routes. Oh, sorry, I used this. Instead of writing this code here, we will write this code inside the controller. Okay, come here to the auth controller, paste that here. We will just rename this. Come here to the routes. So here I will to use the routes, let's just simply that is import login API, okay, the login API that we have created. Now let's use it. Simply let's create a router, const router equal to express dot router. Now let's use it. Router dot post slash login and login API. Export default router. That's it. Now let's import this router, this auth route file inside index.js. Auth router from routes slash auth.js. Now let's use it. Or we can name it a slash API slash auth router. So whenever we want to access this login API, okay, to call that API, we will just simply use like API auth slash login. So just come here, login API. So we have completed our login API. It means the server side code. Now let's move to the front end side. Okay, it was all about the server side code. Let's close all these files. Close the server side application, come here to the front end, to the src. Now in the app.jsx, yeah, we have this. Now let's, first of all, we want to implement React router. So to implement React router, we will use that inside app.jsx. Let's first of all import browser router as router routes and also a route from React router DOM. Sorry, this is React router. The React router 7 is just React router instead of React router DOM. Let's now use the router. So inside these routes, we have route slash home, about, and contact. These are 3 pages. But whenever we come here to the first, to the home page, what we are going to, we want to call, just come here. So here we will come, yeah, simply right now it is working. Let's run. Our application is running. Yeah, home. Right now we are at home. So if we write here about, we are at the about component. Look at the about. So it is all about our React router that we have implemented. Simple, we can implement React router like this. So after React router, we want to implement context API. The context API is used to pass data through all components. It means we can access the data that we have stored inside the context API through all our application. So for that, let's create now context API. For that, I will create a folder. I will name it context. Inside this I will just name it context or auth context .jsx. Inside this, now I will just define the context API. Let's wait. So first of all, let's import create context, comma, use state, and use context. We will just import all these from React. So after importing these, now let's create const auth context is equal to create context. We have created our context, okay, just simply by calling this function create context. So after creating that, now let's create a provider. Simply like that. That is okay. Let's close that. So inside this auth provider, what we are going to declare, first, the first thing that we need, that is user, set user. Okay, it's set user, that's it. Loading, that is also okay. Log in and log out, that is also, but let's declare it by our own self. Const user set user equal to use state. So to this user, we would like to assign by default the data. Okay, from where we can access the data, the default data to store inside this user variable. So we whenever we want to return data from server side, so we will store that inside the local storage. So if the user data was existed inside the local storage, so we will store that inside the user. So let's do it like this. Okay, first of all, declare an arrow function. So inside that const stored user, that's okay, local storage that get item user, so we can name it like POS user. Okay, we will store whenever we log into the system, so we will store the data inside the local storage by this key POS user. So after that, return stored user. If the stored user was existed, it means there was data inside the stored user. So JSON dot parse, it means just parse that to the JSON format to the stored user. Okay, the stored user, and return that. If the stored user was empty or null, so then just return this null value, nothing else. So I hope that you understand on this. Now let's implement the login functionality. Okay, whenever we want to log into the system, so after logging to the system, what we are going to, we will store the key and the token and also the user inside local storage. So for that, simply let's write login equal to, I will explain all these things, okay, in next step. Simply like set user user data and local storage POS user POS token JSON identify, that is okay, token. Okay, it means this auth provider is used to access, okay, whatever we define inside this auth provider, we can access these from all our application. Okay, from which component we want, so we can access the user, we can access this login, we can access logout. So it will automatically generate code for us whenever we log out from system. So we will just set user to null, local storage that remove item POS user, local storage that remove item POS token. That's it. Auth context dot provider value user login and logout and children. What does this mean? I will just explain it here. User, login and logout. So we have used the auth context, this the provider, we have used auth context dot provider, and we pass these values user, login and logout. That means whatever is inside this provider, so those components can access the user, login and logout. Those can access. So we will wrap our app.jsx, this app.jsx through this provider. Okay, through this auth provider, through this one. Now, okay, simply just come here, we will export auth provider. So now let's come here to the app.jsx. We will wrap this app through auth provider. So now we can access okay, whatever is inside auth provider, so we can access them through app component. In our app component, we declare all our components. That means we use React router, so all our components are existed inside this app.jsx. It means we can access now. Just come here to the context. We can access now the user, the login and the logout from all the components. So just come here after declaring that, what else we need to do, context API and root. So now let's create root. Okay, whenever we come here to the app, to this home, okay, whenever we come by the default run our application, so we will declare a root component. In that root, we will check the user is existed or not. Let's create a route. Here const route equal to just create. So inside this route, now we want to access this auth context API, this log in, log out. We want to access just the user. So to access user, for that we want to use the use context. So to use the use context and then access this, for that simply let's first of all declare it. For the simplicity, we will just declare it like this. Okay, const simply export const use auth is equal to just don't need like instead of this use context. Simply now we can import this use auth. Through this use auth we can access user login and logout. So the name of this export const use auth use context. First of all, let's import use auth. Now we can access, okay, we can directly access now user from this through this use auth. So we will render this use effect whenever the user or the navigate value has been changed. So let's declare the navigate also. To import that from React router. Inside this use effect now, if the user was existed, simple, okay, it has generated code for me. If the user was existed, so then check the role of the user. If the user that role was admin, so move navigate to admin/admin/dashboard. If else, if the user that role was a customer, so then employee/dashboard. Else navigate to/login. But if the user was not exist, so then simply again navigate it to the login. So now whenever we run our application, so it will move directly to the root. In the root, it will check for user. If the user was existed, then it will check the role of the user. If the user was not existed, it will directly move to the login. So we don't have login API, so just come here to create that also. We don't have the login route. Now just come here. Look at, I will remove this. Refresh that. Look at, directly it moved to the login because the user is not existed. We don't have user. We didn't log into the system right now. So we directly move to the login component. So this was all about the root and the auth context that we have used, and we access the user data through context, and we can access through all component. After that, what we are going to do, front end. Now let's create the front end. It means the design, the login design, the forum. So to create the forum, for that, let's have pages folder inside src, and we will have login.jsx. So login container, and we have login form. Let's generate the default code. We have login container forum. We have group username. Instead of username, we want to have email, and here we have the password. That is okay. Name, password, name, email, required button, login. This is login. That is okay. This is the code. So let's come here to the app.jsx, and here we just call login element log import login from, just, we didn't export that. That's it. So login, yeah, we should design that. So I will just design it. Okay, I will add the Tailwind CSS classes, and I will design it like this. Just come here like this. I will just design it. I will add the background color. This is just background gradient color, and I will add 2 input fields and 1 button. So this is the design that just I've used the Tailwind CSS classes. This is for the background color. I've used gradient color, inventory management system. Then we have login, then we have our forum, email input field, password input field, and also a button. So finally it looks like this. So now whenever we write something in this input field, so we would like to store that inside the a variable, okay, state variable. So let's create the state variables. Sorry, email. We would like to store the errors also, and also the loading. So now just come here. We have these 4 state variables for the error, email, password, error, and loading. Now whenever we write inside this input email input field, so on change, we will call on change event. set email either target dot value. So whenever we write something in email input field, so it will store that value inside the email variable through this set email function. So let's use it for the password also. Set password either target dot value. So whenever we press this login button, so we will call a function. So for that, come here to the forum. In here I will call on submit event. We will call handle submit. Let's create now the handle submit function. So inside this handle submit function, we will use Axios a library to pass data to the database. So first of all, we need e.prevent default to prevent the default submission. After that, set loading true, set error null, that is okay. Try, then we will use try catch block, response await page. Instead of page, we will use Axios library API slash auth slash login, and let's use like this. Okay. Set prevent. Okay, this is used. Okay, prevent default to prevent default submission. Set loading true. Whenever we come to this handle submit, we will make this true, the loading true. Set error, that is null with us. Const, instead of this, I will use const data equal to Axios dot post. Let's HTTP, yeah, that is the URL, and that's it. Let's remove this everything, or we can name it response. If not response dot okay, so throw new error login failed, please check your credentials. So we'll just, okay, Axios dot post, we will use this as asynchronous, and here I will call await keyword, and down from that now I will check if the response dot data dot success, simply just a minute, if response dot data dot status was true, so then what we are going to do, we will just call the await login. So let's first of all access login from, just come here, import context API. We will just import login from this auth context. Okay, this login. Okay, to store this user data, we will pass this user data to this login function, and also the token to this login function to store them in local storage, and also store the user data inside this user. If the response data status was okay, so then we will call that login function. So let's call that. We will pass the user data. So to pass the user data, for that, simple write simple response.data.user and also response.data.tokens, because we have returned them from the server side. So after passing that, now we will check the role. If response.data.user.role was admin, so what we are going to do, we will just navigate. Let's import navigate also. From React router, we will navigate admin/dashboard. Else we will navigate customer/dashboard. If the response.data.status was not okay, it means it was false. So then what we are going to do, error, we will just print the error, response.data dot error, because we would like to return an error. Just come here to the catch error. Set error dot message. That's it. Okay, that is okay right now. Set loading false. API/auth/login. I think this was the route. Let's check that. The server side, come here to the index.js. First of all, API/auth, API/auth, that is okay. And at the route, come here to route, auth route, in auth route /login, and we passed email and password. We should pass email/password. Shift F to format the document, and error and loading. So let's now use the loading here. Loading, if that was loading, so just print like loading. If the loading was false, so just print the login. And also let's print the error. So here we will just print the error. If the error was existed, so then print the error like this. Press login, so that is loading, but these are required. So just come here, required. Yeah, these are required. Yeah, these are required. So now let's insert an email, admin@gmail.com, and here a password. I will insert a wrong password. Let's press login. So it is loading. Let's press F12. Where is the error? Come here to the console, how to debug your code. Uncut error, invalid hook call. Hooks can only be called inside of the body of the function component. This could happen for one of the following reason. Just come here to the login. Yeah, so let's remove this from here to here. That is okay. Now let's now close it back. Login, so access is not defined. That is okay. Let's import access. So let's come here, admin@gmail.com. So that is loading. Network error, so it means there is an error. That is okay. Let's check. Failed to load. Yeah, there is no, the port number is 3000, not 5000. Let's now log in. So request failed with status code 401. It means unauthorized. Okay, 401 unauthorized. Let's let's come here. This was access.post router.post slash login and call login. And also let's come here to the index.js RBAC slash API slash auth routes. Let's once refresh this. This login request failed with status code 401. Where what is the response, the data? Let's check that. Message invalid credentials. Okay, the message is invalid credentials. So how to print this message? Okay, so to print this message, for this message we need to write, okay, we want to print this message which we have received from server side here. Okay, and this request failed with status code. So to print that message, for that let's go back. If error.response was existed, so set error response.data.error. I think that was error or what we have retrieved from. And let's check that on Chrome. That was data.message. Okay, let's message. What else we need to define? Set that. Close that. Invalid credentials. Look at, we have printed that invalid credentials. Now let's insert exact admin password. Press login. So look at undefined. So what has been undefined? Let's come here. If response.data.status was true, yeah, this is debugging of code. Let's once refresh that. Response.data. What I have retrieved. Response.data.status was okay. Status. Oh, sorry, that is not status, but that is success. Yeah, if data.success was true, so then do like this. Okay, this area of code. Now let's press login. So directly we move to the admin dashboard because the role was admin. So it has been directly moved to the admin dashboard. So it was all about the login functionality. What else we need to do? we need to implement now protected route. Okay, if the role was admin, so it should move to the admin dashboard. If the role was employee, so it should move to the customer, so it should move to the customer dashboard. So let's implement the protected route. For the protected route, I will just create protected route somewhere inside, just here. I will create a folder by the name of utils. In that, let's create protected routes.jsx. Inside this protected route, I will just implement like advanced protected routes. So to this protected routes, I will pass children, and also the children are the component that we will run, and also required rules. Okay, the rule that is required for this route, I will just show you it. Okay, so we will also import user. We will extract that from use auth. Let's import the use auth from auth context, and also now let's just run use effect. Array dependency. In this array dependency, we will define user navigate whenever the if one of these has been changed, so it will, what it will do, it will just render this use effect again, this use effect. Okay, inside this use effect, first of all, we will check if not user, if the user was not existed, so then navigate slash login, return nothing. And down from that, we will check if not required rule that includes user.rule. It means, for example, the a customer requested for a component which is just authorized by the admin, so we will check that here. So for that, we will navigate unauthorized route. And that includes return, and down from that, so if not user, this is for early checkup. Okay, for early checkup. Finally, we will return the children. This was the component of protected routes. First of all, let me check the user. If the user was not existed, it will move directly to the login. If the rule was not that rule which is required for that component, so it will move to the unauthorized route. Let's first of all define unauthorized route. That's it. Now let's call now protected route. So where we can call the protected route, for example, on this admin dashboard. Whenever we want to just call the admin dashboard, so we will call the protected route. So let's this is an array. The reason for that is whenever we want to check that inside here protected route that includes if that was included, because we can pass both. There are some components which are accessible for both admin and customer, so that's why we made that an array. So whenever we want to access now this admin dashboard, so first of all it will check that a role should be admin and also the user should be valid, then we can access this admin dashboard. For example, if the customer want to access the admin dashboard, so it will directly render it to the unauthorized route. It means you are not authorized to access this component. Let's bring this root to this utils. Where we have imported it, this root. That is okay. We are at the admin dashboard. For example, we want to run our application again. Press enter, so we directly move to the admin dashboard because our data is stored in local storage. So at the user, at the root, it check if the data was existed. Just come here to the context API context. Okay, at the context it check if the user data was existed, store that in the user. So if the user data was existed, so at the root it will directly move to the admin dashboard. If the role was admin, so it will move to admin dashboard. If role was customer, so it will move to the customer dashboard. So look at even if I close these, look at and open it again, so directly it will move to the admin dashboard because we were already logged into the system. So it was all about the login functionality in registration, protected route, context API. We implemented all these concepts in this video. So I hope you learned something from this video. Okay, we implemented all these concepts in this video. So if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel and also share this with your friends. So in the next video, we will implement other parts of our project. Thanks for watching.